Hey, you guys. Hope you're having a wonderful day. So, this one's mainly for you guys, maybe for some ladies as well. It's about dating overseas, you guys. And I'm going to share with you my experiences just through the years. A lot has changed since I've done a lot of traveling. As I mentioned in other videos, that I'm an international security specialist and have done a lot of traveling overseas, Europe, East Asia, also in Latin America, Mexico, and been there for business as well as pleasure. And what I found is just during my stay in these various countries, women are the same everywhere you go. The primal instincts of women are the same, you guys. So fundamentals keep the same. What are the differences is just traditions and behaviors that are learned based on their culture and how they should respond. What I found as well is women overseas. Now, this would be mainly in the 90s, I would say, up to late 90s, early 2000. Of course, we didn't have all these social platforms at that time. There was no Facebook, Instagram, and all these other platforms that actually put everybody in the world in touch with each other instantly, you guys. So when you were particularly an American guy and you were from America, you were more of a novelty at that time. And you could be the most average looking guy and there'd be a lot of curiosity about you. So you go to a bar, you can go to a nightclub, go to a coffee shop, restaurant, and there's always huge curiosity. This is in the 90s, 80s even more so, but my experiences were mainly in the 90s and 2000s, traveling back and forth for business, for pleasure. And what I found is looks have always mattered. Particularly, again, I always mention, particularly when you're a younger guy and a younger woman. Younger women looks matter. As they get a little bit older, that does evolve on the ladies a little bit, and that becomes not as important. Now, what I found is, particularly in Europe or former Eastern Bloc countries at that time, you were a huge curiosity. Of course, you come from a country of greatness, of a country of abundance, and so women are very curious. So you could be the most average looking guy and you could probably score a fantastic looking woman based on just your curiosity, but you still have to have some looks. Looks have always been important, but what I found in Europe as well as in East Asia, these women, generally speaking, don't put so much emphasis on looks on a man. They look at more of your substance and what you've created. Remember, I've mentioned actions speak louder than words. So they look at what you've achieved because their emphasis is quite different in regards of America. America has always been more superficial. It's a huge consumer market here. We live in a consumer matrix, and that's what you get every day from the time you wake up. It's all about drive, 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 create, create, create. And if you're not doing that, then you tend to, generally speaking, have a lower value as a person. So growing up in America, of course, it's a very driven market, driven matrix, a lot of superficial behavior as well. But now this has changed overseas as well as East Asia. So women are women. They're all about resources no matter where you go, you guys. Some more than others. Now, the differences, again, the different nuances is based on female behavior, learned behavior, based on cultural experiences and cultural expectations and traditions in that country. And so it was always a lot of fun. I've had a lot of cool experiences in Europe as well as in East Asia. And at that time, of course, economically, these countries weren't doing that well. So it was always a huge push. I mean, that was part of always the interest of any girl to have that opportunity to come visit America, whether it's East Asia or Europe. And they actually truly do or did like you or do like you. It's not phony. The only time you would sense that might be a false mission on a woman would be if you see a very, very attractive woman with a guy that is very heavy, not so attractive, then you'll find that being a bit superficial interest in that guy. So, and that goes particularly in East Asia. When I spend a lot of time in East Asia, I saw a lot of English and Russians over there, and you would see these least attractive men with these very, very attractive young women, and that's mainly because those are poor countries. Again, as time evolves and these countries have stronger economies, you'll find that to change as well. Women are very practical creatures. I've mentioned that before, so they tend to adjust and recalibrate a lot different than us guys. So you'll see a lot of these very, very attractive women with these guys not so attractive, fat guys, or not so attractive, average-looking guys. And they'll be with these guys as long as these men are kind to them. They spend some money on them. There's value for these ladies. In Europe, not so much the same, European women, but still at that time in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, still the curiosity was there. Now, what changed this, of course, is that as we evolve into this one world government that the entire world is part of practically right now, and as the economies get stronger, like in Europe and these former Eastern Bloc countries, women, you won't find that as common anymore, where they go out with these guys that are not so attractive but are very wealthy or have some value to offer them. So you're not as a novelty anymore now as with these social platforms, Facebook and Instagram and everything else that's out there that brings the world closer together, and their economies are a lot stronger now. You're not going to find that same novelty response on an American or you traveling overseas unless the country is really economically depressed. So, that's my experience with it. Women are women, you guys. And you'll find gold diggers in America and also in overseas. But overseas, generally, it's all about surviving. And this is why a lot of you guys do travel overseas, which is for the wrong reasons. Now, when you do travel overseas, you do always have to be careful. Again, always remember that they look at you as a checkbook, as a bank account. Particularly if you're an average-looking guy, don't fall for the bullshit. Don't fall for the traps, you guys. You'll find a lot of that in East Asia. And very attractive women, always remember, it's for what you can provide them or provide their families, you guys. They will ask you for monies. They will feign that they have sick family members so you can send them money. This stuff is just part of their bag of tricks, and they know that their beauty is mesmerizing you, and they could tell as well that you don't have much female experience. So that's their way of putting a grip on you and pulling you in. So just use caution. I'm not going to tell you not to do it or to do it or what have you, but you always have to remember that women are attracted to looks. It's not as important as they get much older, but it is very important when they are younger. So once they reach they peak out into their 20s and then their 30s and 40s, that's not as important. They're looking more for financial resources and stability, you guys. Because women, they are in check with their own reality, which is their prime is from their teens all the way up to 30, 35 years old, depending how well she takes care of herself. But keep that in mind. Don't fall for the trap. Don't have a false sense of yourself when you're traveling overseas looking for a wifey. That's what you can expect, but you should always look at as well. Actions speak louder than words, even for these ladies. And in Europe, it's not so much that way anymore. You'll find economically depressed people anywhere in the world these days. But in Europe, particularly, you'll find that they're doing much, much better financially. So you'll find more realistic relationships over there. And again, when you're traveling overseas right now, it's not as, Americans are not that much of a novelty anymore. There's, because of the world being brought together with technology. So it's not as a novelty. I remember the time when I was in Europe. You could whip out your California ID or driver's license or passport, and they would be mesmerized with it. Now, this was in the early 90s and 2000s. It was because there was, the only way people could get in touch with each other were pen pals at that time, letter writing, and just a regular telephone. Now everyone has an iPhone. So it's changed a lot, you guys. It's changed a lot. Always remember, just don't have a false sense of yourself. Be realistic. This way you won't fall into any of these female traps out there. Because a lot of women are still they're looking for those resources, and they could tell. A lot of you guys that are reaching overseas because you're looking for a specific type of mentality and mindset in a woman. But that has changed and evolved as well. The American matrix has spread, and it continues to spread worldwide. And depending on how this woman is raised will be depending on her mindset and how she is approaching relationships as well. So looks will always matter. Always. It does always matter, you guys. I'm not going to bullshit you guys, and don't allow any other channel not to bullshit you as well, that looks don't matter. There are exceptions to the rule, as I mentioned, but generally women settle for what they can get based on their own beauty. They're very, very in touch with their own beauty, and they settle for what they can get based on their own options and what value they bring to the world. So keep that in mind. Dating overseas, it's changed a lot. And if a lot of you guys are still reaching out to East Asia, just don't fall into the trap. Don't fall into the fakery, into the phoniness. You guys always have to remember, they will size you up. They do size you up. And this still happens in certain parts of Europe as well, but mainly in East Asia. And as these countries evolve and become less economically dependent on the World Bank, then you'll find out that a lot of these women are not as interested in you anymore. Again, once they come to America, a lot of these girls, and they generally will subscribe to a certain different mindset, you'll see a lot of changes in their behavior. So I always recommend not bringing them to America, maybe a visit, but then raising them where they still part of that matrix, where they can be in check with their family, and they will not have such of a, I would say, a changed ideology or mindset. When they come to America, they do change. Their mindset does change a little bit. But again, it all depends what type of leader you are as a man. And remember, a lot of you guys are reaching out because you feel you could find an attractive woman, a much more attractive woman than you can in America. But you know what, you guys, there's nothing wrong with American girls. What they're still in search of is a leader, a man that can lead, because biologically they have not changed. Some of them do fall into the trap of the matrix, but you could hijack that by just the way you behave, because women respond the same anywhere in the world. So anyways, hope you guys are well and you guys understand this. Just don't fall into the traps, you guys. Dating overseas can be fantastic. I was there for both business and pleasure. I've always had great experiences, but it's based on how you behave yourself and how you respond to them. Again, you average looking guys, you guys with some wealth, remember that your little wealth in America is greatness over there. So they'll respond differently to you. So if you're truly an average looking guy and you're pulling a girl, don't have false sense of yourself thinking that you're so Mr. Wonderful. No, these women want something. They want to better their lives, better their family lives. Always remember too, the trap is, when you come back to America, they want to come to America because this is still a land of opportunity, you guys, no matter what. It still is, even currently right now. So just be in touch with reality, you guys. Always be in touch with reality. And some of you ladies that have reached out overseas too, not as many. You're a very small pool of women that have done that. And for whatever reason, you guys choose to do that. But yeah, so that's what I have to share with you guys. Again, things have changed quite a bit, and you'll find that as a country becomes stronger, more economically, women and people have more opportunities. Americans are not as much of a novelty any longer. So keep that in mind, and hope you guys are well. Enjoy your day. It's a beautiful day over here, sunshine, views. It's a fantastic day, and just carry on. Be positive, be mindful, self-aware of what you're doing. Don't fall into any traps. Don't respond emotionally, as I always say in my other videos here. Always take a step back, be a critical thinker, be mindful, self-aware. Hope you guys are well, and we'll see you soon.